I then got to meet the other 9 and see their work, and I was just blown away by all of them. Really blown away by their films and by the work they've done. So it's just really nice to be in that company, and it's also a great weekend. It's a busy weekend. You're in the Berlinale. It's a great festival. They really, film is taken very seriously here, and it's just great to be around that and to kind of learn from it. As an actor, you get you don't have that much control. Some people do. But you're sort of at the mercy of all the different things that might come your way, all the different scripts that might come your way, and I'm lucky in what I've got to do so far. I've really loved the things I've got to do, the roles I've got to play, and I like not having that control or that sort of being able to predict it. So you're at the mercy of whatever crosses your path, and I'm very happy to do that. But yeah, is there a pressure because of the recognition of something like this? I don't think so. I just think it's a positive thing, and then you're really only as good as the kind of work you do as well. So while this is lovely, it's also just about the actual work and how you do that on the day. I love them all, and I think you want to do all of it because they offer you different things. So they challenge you in different ways, and I like stage was sort of my entry point into this. I did youth theatre, I put on plays, I got to do a bit of film work as a kid, so that was I found a very different thing. I found that kind of a challenge at the start. I like the technical challenges of both. I like being able to change and do both. But yeah, that was my entry point actually was youth theatre really, and then theatre in general, and then drama school, which is a theatre-based training. So I'm really glad I had that entry point. Yeah, it was all. I guess I just loved the approach. That was all about the text. It was all about what was written on the page, and that you could sort of do that 100, 200, 1,000 different ways. And that philosophy, I guess, is what I've always loved. And then you bring it to screen acting, and it becomes slightly different. It's like you can do that, but it's not so much about the words on the page. It is, but it's also about, I suppose, your kind of the interiority of that. And so I've loved the challenges of both. And selfishly, I just want to keep doing all of it. Now is like the best time to see musicals. There is so much good stuff, and I've seen quite a lot this year. You know what? It's funny you say that. I think you've caught me out. I should definitely rise to the challenge. I saw Guys and Dolls recently, and they completely reimagined it in this theatre called the Bridge Theatre, and you had a lot of amazing actors who work in musical theatre. And you had some people who never or who hadn't done musical theatre in years, who were mainly working on screen. They were amazing. So like there's such skill sets you need. Like you need to be a great singer, great dancer. That's going to be a challenge. But then you also need to be able to sort of do that while playing a character and take them in a story.
Yes,
so it's the hardest work.
So,
folk musical or something.
Yeah,
something in my limited range would be. But I would love that. I think I'd really enjoy it. As long as I wasn't letting down the production, I can, because I suppose everyone knows the story. Really, it's going to be. It follows in equal parts. It follows Prince Andrew and the kind of royal household, and Emily Maitlis and the BBC team and Newsnight. So it's a sort of 50-50 kind of view of this, and it's 3 episodes that follows the sort of that story and the story of the interview. I play Stuart McLean, I should say, who was the producer at. He's a producer after that aired at Newsnight. He was an editor at the time. I loved the job. It was such good fun. Just an amazing cast. Bruce Wilson and Michael Sheen are playing Emily Maitlis and Prince Andrew. Great to go to work with them every day and see what they're doing. It's really well written drama, because obviously it's so hard to take something that is recent history. I guess being Irish helps, I have a nice distance from the whole thing. I've got an outsider's sort of eye on it. Yeah, I mean, I love that storytelling. I think it's sometimes it's difficult when you're handling something that is very recent and is indeed unfolding now. But that's also a great reason to do something, because it's of significance to the present moment, and you don't want to sound too lofty about it because it is a TV show. But I do think it is yeah, it definitely speaks it not only to that specific case, but also just to the kind of story of the media now, and how the media landscape is changing, how interviews like that have become less commonplace because people are less willing to maybe put themselves in that risky position, you know. So for me, it was really fascinating because it became, it's obviously that particular story, but actually became, from my side of things, this was about journalism and what that means. It was that, and I didn't really think that going into it. It just sort of developed as we were going, and there was all these serendipitous things when we were filming, where, like, you know, kind of things were happening at Newsnight or in the BBC, and so we were sort of, that was happening while we were filming, and yeah, it's, and not that you're trying to play any of that or that you're, you know, aware of any of that when you're acting, but it's just, I guess, it reminds you that the show is important and will, you know, telling things that are, you know, trying to, well, it's the writer's challenge, you know, they're the people who have to distill something that's actually happened onto the page, and I've worked with brilliant writers who've done that, you know, and it's an interesting experience because I suppose you do that and then you go on to play fictional characters and you realise that, you know, you should bring the detail of the real people you play to the fictional people you play, and so I love doing both, but they are slightly different to my mind, you know. There's so much invention, it's all your imagination, but then, you know, it's always only your imagination. It's just maybe you have more information to start with and maybe you have to kind of absorb that to begin with, but you are ultimately, it's going to be an active imagination. It is, and I think really importantly, like, obviously small things like these open festival, it's a beautiful film. Cillian Murphy played the lead, and my friend Zara Devlin, actually, who's absolutely phenomenal in the film. And I think we're seeing a different kind of storytelling coming out of Ireland. We've always, you know, amazing writers, amazing novelists, but our kind of, I think cinema in Ireland is having a great moment, and that's not accidental. I think it's a lot of hard work has gone into making it happen. But the stories we're telling are maybe, stories of contemporary Ireland, recent history, but maybe with a more challenging kind of perspective than we maybe have done. I don't know, but it's really exciting. Like, you know, and I'm just very, very proud of what's coming out, and it's, I think things are moving in a really good direction. So if I can cling on to that, then all the better. I'd be lucky to work with any of the people on this program. They're just amazing actors, and I think one of the things that has been really great about this weekend, we were at a talk yesterday about Langue Étrangère, Claire Berger's film, and I haven't seen it yet, but it's a story that is so modern because it's kind of borderless, right? So, you know what I mean? We live in Europe, and in any one street you will hear 5 different languages spoken. I've noticed that a lot more in cinema in the recent years. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention, but, you know, I love that. I think those films feel, you know, almost more real or authentic to me because I guess that's reflective of where we live in. So I'd love the challenge of, you know, acting in another language or working with actors in different languages. I think I've seen great films that have sort of done that recently. And Franz Wachowski, who was a shooting star, and Ben Whishaw, and Adele.
Adele Exarchopoulos.
That's a brilliant pronunciation. Adele Exarchopoulos. They're incredible to film, and I mean, it's not just the language thing, but it's maybe it's the fact that, you know, you've got actors in 3 different countries. Maybe they all have slightly different sort of approaches to it. I don't know what it was, but it's got a magic dynamism to it. That film. And, I just thought that was really exciting. It got me thinking about it in a new way. That, you know, you want to tell stories from everywhere if you're lucky.
Yes,
just
right.
The problem is if you're Irish or English, it's very likely you only speak one language. So that's my fault. It's given me all sorts of challenges today. So I need to learn how to sing, learn how to dance, learn French. These were the things that people said to me all the time. They're like, oh yeah, and you should learn this language and you should practice your music and stuff because it's going to make you more employable. And they were all correct. It's great. I mean, it's great for you anyway. It's great for your brain, but it's I think that's one of the great joys of this job, if you can get those chances, is to immerse yourself in the trombone or French or German.